right for your body, please just don't do it, or do something else that is right for your body whilst we're doing that. We're going to start off tonight in standing, thinking about our feet. So look down at your feet with them underneath your hips, remembering that that is just a fist between your feet, okay, so no wider. Get your weight approximately even, but we're going to start moving straight off it, and then roll to the inside borders of your feet and the outside borders of your feet. So roll to the inside borders of your feet and the outside borders of your feet. Now, as you're looking down, you should be doing this with minimal leg movement. Okay, so your knees should not be rolling in and out, your knees should be staying nice and still, which means that the foot is coming from the movement's coming from deep within the foot. And I'd also like to think about your toes. So if you could keep your toes soft or relaxed, which means they're not scrunching and splaying as you go between the inside and outside borders. So just rolling through the feet to begin with. And just start to see whether or not you can increase that roll without any compensation. So as you're just starting to wake them up a little bit, can you increase the inwards outwards movement of the foot roll, but without any compensation starting to creep in? So the toes are still staying soft, the knees are still staying still. And then land your weight and your feet approximately in the middle. And we're going to do some leg lifts, but I want you to maintain a soft or even a floppy foot. Okay? So we're going to come up, you're lifting from the hip, and the foot, if I stand this way, you'll see the foot is just dangling. And place it down, and the other side. So soft foot. And the reason for this is that when we're walking, we don't actually want to be pulling up with the toes as we step through. The toes should be behind us, pushing off, and then relaxing down rather than pulling up. Okay? But so many people, they pull up with their toes as they lift, and it's not a particularly great movement pattern to have. So I'll just face you again as we just do a few more of those. So keep concentrating on that soft foot. Good. And then hold one up in the air. So you've got your soft foot, you're in standing tabletop, and then rotate inwards and outwards from the foot and the ankle. Again now, keep the shins still, and the knees still, and the thighs still. So I can see a few pendulums of grandfather clocks. Look down at your leg, or even hold your shin if you need to make sure that you're moving your foot underneath rather than your leg. Now I also want you to soften your toes, because I can see a couple of people's toes pulling up to the ceiling. And then start to draw some circles from the foot, maintaining the soft toes, keeping the shins still and the thighs still. Grow tall out of your stance leg, so you're using your buttock or your glute to grow tall. Take your circles the other way. So we're already starting to wake up the glutes as well. Good, place that foot down. Transfer your weight. It's coming up into standing tabletop. Soft foot, no grabbing toes. Inwards and outwards to begin with. Turn them into circles, but keep it coming from deep within the foot. So shin stays still, thigh stays still. Grow tall out of your stance hip so that you're maintaining that strength within your standing. Turn circles the other way. Your toes are still soft. Good. And then place the foot down. Okay, from here, I'll just turn sideways. We're going to do some shallow squats. So think about the lengthening of the spine, the lengthening of the tailbone, of the spinal muscles, letting go if they've got any tension carried in them. And then we're going to go straight up onto our toes. So that will let us know whether or not we've got our weight in the right place. So make sure that your feet are still hip distance apart as you've landed them down, and that your weight feels even left and right, heels and toes. And then drop down into a shallow squat. Lengthen that tailbone and then come up, straight up onto your toes. Drop the heels. So shallow squat, lengthen, come up onto your toes, and down. Squat, lengthen up onto your toes, heels down. And again, shallow squat, lengthen those muscles in the back. Coming up onto your toes, and down. And again. Coming up onto your toes. Heels down one more time. Lengthen the back muscles, so no bottoms out. Coming up onto your toes, and down. Good. Right. From here, can you now take your heels together, your toes apart? Still, you want your weight to be nice and even, left and right, and I want you to really feel a connection all the way up through from the heels up into the inner thighs. Okay? Before we squeeze the inner thighs, however, can you just gently draw your pelvic floor up? So think about your two sit bones drawing together, your sacrum and your pubic bone drawing together, and that gentle little lift deep inside. Okay, then squeeze the thighs. Now keep the heels connected as you come up. And down. And again, squeeze and lift. And down. And again, squeeze and lift. And down. Draw your pelvic floor, squeeze the thighs and lift. And down. Now we're going to add in some arm circles. So coming up, breathing in. Keep the inner thighs connected, breathing out. Nice big circle. And again, breathing in. Pelvic floor, then squeeze the inner thighs, lengthen the rib cages, and breathing out. And again. Pelvic floor first, squeeze the inner thighs, float onto your toes, lengthen the ribs, and breathing out to come down. And again, we're coming up, breathing out to come down, and again, breathing up, breathing out to come down. One more time, pelvic floor first, inner thigh squeeze, coming up onto those toes, lengthen the ribs, and breathing out as you come down. Good. Okay, from here we're going to go straight into our roll downs tonight. I'm going to talk you through something at the bottom, and I want you to really feel like lengthening. So, I think the person with running injuries is here. This is lengthening all the way up through the back of the system is really helpful. Okay? So, I'll stand sideways again. Get your weight even. Just your fists between your feet in case they've moved. Just do a quick body check so your knees are soft but straight. Your pelvis feels like it's sitting in a good place. Your ribs feel like they're in a good place. Okay, so ribs on top of pelvis, shrug the shoulders, drop the shoulder blades back down the rib cage and grow tall from the soft palate in your mouth. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, Just gently nod your chin to your chest and start to slowly roll yourself forwards, keeping those knees softly straight, going to wherever is comfortable for you. Now tonight, as you take a big breath in, can you push your heels into the floor but lengthen your tailbone to the ceiling, but then lengthen the crown of your head towards your knees? And breathe out. Connect your shoulder blades to your rib cage and curl up. Tailbone, lower back, rib cage, shoulders, neck. Head, float onto the toes, lengthen the arms. Okay, and come down. And again, get your weight even through your feet. Knees soft, breathing in, breathing out. Curl down, chin to chest. Start to fold yourself forwards. So just wherever you're comfortable, as you breathe in, lengthen your heels into the floor, your tailbone to the ceiling, crown of the head towards the knees. Breathe out. Breathe in, lengthen again. And breathing out, curl up, nice and slowly. Really thinking about that segmental stacking of the spine, good alignment. Float up onto those toes. And down. I'm going to turn and face you for the next ones because we're going to add as we come down. So from here, breathing in, get your weight nice and even, breathing out, nice and slowly. Fold yourself forwards. So have that feeling of lengthening through the system. Heels to the crown of your head as you breathe in. Breathe out to let it go. Another big breath in, lengthen again. Breathing out, curling up. Connect the shoulder blades to the rib cage so that you come up with your nice, relaxed, soft shoulders. Straight up onto the toes. Breathe in. Okay, from here, one side, you're going to lengthen your fingertips to the ceiling and your heel to the floor. So lengthen and come back onto both toes. Other side, lengthen the fingertips to the ceiling and the heel to the floor. And back up. Good, heels down. Okay, so we're going to repeat that. First with the roll down, 2 breaths at the bottom, finding that nice length up the back of your system. We're breathing in. Breathing out, curl down, chin to chest. Keeping those knees softly straight but not allowing them to lock. So breathing in, heels to the floor, tailbone to the ceiling, crown of the head to the knees. Breathing out, let it go. Breathing in, lengthen again. Breathing out, curl up, connect the shoulder blades to the rib cage towards the bottom, and you're curling up. Tailbone, lower back, rib cage, shoulders, neck, and head. Coming up onto your toes. Okay, one side, fingertips to the ceiling, heel to the floor. And let it go. Other side, fingertips to the ceiling, heel to the floor. Coming up. Bring the arms down. We're going to do that whole set one more time. Breathing in, breathing out. Nod your chin to your chest, curling forwards. Okay, so breathing in, lengthen tailbone to the ceiling, crown of the head to the floor, heels into the floor. Breathing out, let it go a touch. Breathing in, lengthen. Breathing out as you curl up, tailbone, lower back. How curly can you make it? They should be getting better. Coming up onto those toes. And lengthen, fingertips to ceiling, heel to floor, one side, good. Let go, or come back onto toes. Other side, fingertips to ceiling, heel to floor. Coming up, bring yourself down. Good. Right, we're going to go down just briefly into a down dog, just to stretch out those calves and hamstrings. So as I say, I'm pretty sure I saw the person with the running injuries sign on. Okay, so just standing, one more roll down into your down dogs. Okay, breathing in, breathing out, curl forward. Now try and keep your heels on the floor. I know it can be very hard, I'm very bad at it. As you walk your hands forward. Crown of the head to the floor, so you're taking any tension out of the back of the neck. Lengthen your tailbone towards the ceiling. Push through your arms, breastbone to knees. And that should be strong for most of us, okay? If you're not getting a stretch in this position, it's because you don't need to. Right, from here, we're going to start some gentle heel pumps. So one heel towards the floor, then the other, as if you're walking, but the toes don't leave the floor. And really, when you push your heel into the floor, straighten that knee and find as much length as you can at the side of the back of your system. So just a few nice stretches. Keep pushing through your arms, breastbone to knees, keep lengthening that tailbone, and make sure your head stays relaxed, because so many people, they start to look forwards and they take a lot of tension to the necks. You should feel that your calves are just starting to ease out a little bit, might be getting a bit easier hopefully. Okay, and then into your straight forward down dog. Push those heels as close to the floor as you can, straighten your knees, tailbone to the ceiling, breastbone to knees, and come down onto the mat or onto the floor. Okay, we're going to go straight into our swimming at level 1 tonight. So I have a small head block. You might want a small cushion. It's going to go underneath our foreheads when we're lying on our fronts. And make sure that you're not squashing your nose, so you need to be able to breathe. If we've got any swimmers with us who are wanting to stay strong, this is important. Okay, so we're going to start just with our arms, then we'll go into a slightly different variation with our legs. So you've got your head on a cushion, you're looking at the floor, you've got your arms long out in front of you. Now I'll just look up to make sure you can hear while I say this. We're going to do very small arm lifts, but as you're doing them, the lower back, the buttocks and the legs want to stay completely quiet. And what I mean by that is there's no muscle activation. So the muscle activation for this exercise is all coming from around the back of the shoulder blades. Okay? And it's very small. So from here, you're just going to gently lift one arm an inch or so from the floor, and that lift is coming from your shoulder blade, and lower it down. Then the other side, breathing out to lift, and breathing in to lower. And swapping sides, breathing out to lift from the shoulder blade, breathing in to lower. And then swapping again, breathing out to lift, and into lower. Now if you're struggling with that lift without your buttocks or your legs or your lower back muscles joining in, then you can do what I call an almost lift, which is where you do just simply activate but don't lift from the floor. Okay, and that's the way to start learning this. So keep looking at the mat. Now as you just do your gentle lifts or your almost lifts, try and maintain a long tailbone, so you've got your tailbone gently curled towards the floor to maintain that nice neutral position of your lower back. Okay, we're just going to do a couple more of those. Good. Okay, now from here, can you get your cushion and place it behind one knee? Okay, so get your cushion and just place it behind one knee, and then rest your head on your arms or on your hands, and you're going to gently squeeze that cushion as you just hover the thigh from the floor and lower. And again, gentle squeeze, hover the thigh from the floor and lower. Now that little tiny lift is coming from your buttock and your hamstrings, the muscles in the back of your thighs, not from your lower back. So your lower back should stay nice and quiet, and it should stay still as well, okay? We don't want any backs that are arching and moving to allow you to do this. So as with the arms, you can do an almost lift if you can't do a lift. Okay, we'll just do a couple more to this side. So really be very clear that you're using your buttocks and your hamstrings to do these tiny little lifts, not your lower back. Okay, lower that side. Swap the cushion onto the other side. Gently squeeze it behind your knee. Make sure that your thighs are almost connected and that your leg hasn't kind of slipped out to the side at all. Rest your head down again on your hands. And again, utilising your buttock and your hamstring, do a little tiny hover and down. And again, little lift and down. And little lift and down. Little lift and down. So it's really, really important, again, I'll just say it again, that you don't use your lower back to do this. It's an activation and strengthening exercise for the glutes and the hamstrings to make sure that they're nice and strong and they're working correctly. Okay, one more of those, and then you can take your cushion away. Place your cushion back underneath your head. Take your arms out and we're going to connect the two. So we're going to do opposite arm, opposite leg, straight arms this time, using the shoulder blades and the buttocks. Before you set off, just very gently lengthen the tailbone so you've got your lower back in a good position. Okay, and then when you breathe out, hover opposite arm, opposite leg, and down. Swapping sides, breathing out to hover, breathing in to lower. And again, breathing out to hover, breathing in to lower. So this is now coming from the shoulder blade and the buttock. Still not the lower back, so the lower back should stay completely still. The muscles in the lower back should be quiet. Now if you want to add a small extra bit of strength to this, then keep looking at the floor, but hover the head about an inch or so from your cushion. It will just change a little bit how you use those trunk muscles, and it does a little bit of strength work into the back of your neck as well. Okay? But what I want is a really long neck. So you've almost got your chin tucked down gently towards your chest. Maybe you have lifted your head. Good. Last one to each side. And lower it down. All right. From here, we're going to go into some side planks. Everybody's favourite. Okay. So, if you'd like to set yourself up, we'll do a level 1 side plank. And we'll then add a couple little bits into it. So, your knees are gently bent, your top foot is in front of your bottom foot on the floor. Okay. Most importantly, make sure that your elbow is underneath your shoulder and not stuck out here. Okay. Grow tall from your shoulder and then lift your underneath waist from the floor. So you've got all those obliques kicking in, nice and strong. Okay. We're only going to go up onto the knees. So when you next breathe out, keep lifting from that underneath waist. Send your pelvis forwards or glide your pelvis forwards. Your knees are connected. That's it. Top foot on the floor. Good. Now, it doesn't help me saying the person in the middle, does it? Because you don't know who you are. Bring your pelvis, glide it forwards. And then come down, bottom to shoulder. So your setup comes down perfectly. Okay? Keep growing strong and squeeze and lift and up you come. And come down, bottom to shoulder. Think about that nice head and neck alignment as well. If you can keep going with those or you can add. So if you want to add, we're going to go over into a nice big arc. So now think about lifting your top rib cage to the ceiling. Good. Come into your side plank and thread through. So we've got some thoracic rotation. And then open your breastbone, your chest to the ceiling. So we're going the other way. And then coming down, bottom to shoulder, grow tall. And again, squeeze and lift. We're coming up. Opening up to the side. Now lengthen, lengthen, lengthen all the way to your little fingers. Good. Back to the ceiling and thread through. And then open all the way the other way. Still strong out to the underneath shoulder. Good. And then come down. Bottom to shoulder. Okay, and again, lift the underneath rib cage. Make sure your shoulder setup's perfect. Up you go. Open up that top. Use your breath. And thread through. Open that thread. Open the other way. And come down, bottom to shoulder. And do one more of those. Okay? Maintain your good shoulder alignment. And lift. Open into a nice big side bend plank. Back to the ceiling. Into a thread the needle plank. Open up. And coming down. Now, just make sure your setup is still perfect. We're going to hold one more. We're going to add in some leg work. If you don't want to go into side plank again because you've had enough and you're getting tired, then you can just lie down on the floor and do your leg work like that. Okay, so that's your option, and that is absolutely fine if you would like to do that. Otherwise, make sure your side plank, as I say, it's really, really good. Grow tall, and we're going to come up, take the top leg. Now from here, so if you're on the floor, then just lie on the floor. We're going to go forwards and back. Come forwards, pull the toes towards you, go back, point the toes. Come forwards, toes towards you, go back and point the toes. Forwards, pull the toes towards you, back and point the toes. And again, forwards, toes to you, back and point. Forwards, toes to you, back and point. Hold it and backward circles. On your left, these are anti-clockwise. On your right, they're clockwise. Keep growing strong out of shoulder. Don't let your head fall off. Keep your neck alignment as well as everywhere else. Well done. Bend the knees and come down. Switch the legs to the other side. Straight onto the other side tonight. Okay, now do be aware, you can have good sides and bad sides. So just because you could do something on one side, it doesn't mean that you have to be able to do it on the other side. So get your setup right again, gently bent knees. If your knees are too bent, then you can't move. Okay, so there you only want to be gently bent. Get your elbow directly underneath your shoulder. Your top foot on the floor in front of your bottom foot. Grow tall out of your shoulder, lift from your underneath waist. And then when you breathe out, squeeze and lift, glide that pelvis forwards. Let's just do 2. So knees together, that's it. And coming down, bottom to shoulder, grow tall. And again, squeeze and lift. So for the runners, this is working with a strength that we call the lateral line. And again, it's really important to be strong up the lateral line so that every single stride you take, that support is there. Okay, we're going to come up and we're going to open into that plank side bend. Come to the ceiling. Thread through. Open to the ceiling. and coming back down. Grow tall out the shoulder. Make sure your bodies are nice and square, 90 degrees to the floor, and squeeze and lift into your bend. So top rib cage to the ceiling. Arm back to the ceiling and thread through. So all these little extra bits, they are additional. You don't have to do them. You don't have to do anything. Come back and down. Make sure your setup is still perfect. Grow tall and squeeze and lift. Glide that pelvis forwards. Then lengthen that top side all the way down to your little fingers. Coming up and thread through. Opening up, 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 up to the ceiling. Or the sky of Sarah, coming down. Just one more of those. Lift from the underneath rib cage, make sure your shoulder's good, neck alignment's good, up you go. And into that bend. Opening up and threading through. Opening right up to the ceiling. Search for that thoracic mobility. Good, and coming down. So once again, just this little bit of leg work. If you don't want to be up in your side plank, just lie down on your side with a straight leg, okay? So make sure that elbow is still underneath your shoulder and it hasn't crept away. Grow strong out your shoulder. Bring your trunk 90 degrees to the mat and squeeze and lift, straighten that top leg. Okay, glide to you, toes to you. Away from you, point the toes. From the hip joint, glide to your toes to you. So the waist stays still, the lower back stays still. Coming forwards, using your quads. Squeezing back, using your buttocks. And again, glide forwards. Keep growing strong out of that shoulder. If you get tired, then just lie down, that's absolutely fine. Keep growing strong. One more kick, forwards and back. Hold that straight leg and backward circles. Right legs, these are clockwise, left legs are anti-clockwise. Little circles from the hip, make sure the waist and the lower back are not joining in. Well done, and come down. That was tough doing that if you did that from side plank, so well done. Okie doke. Right, from here we're going to go onto our backs. So make sure you have a little cushion underneath your head, or a big one if you normally have a blue block. You want to be in crook lying, knees and feet hip distance apart, and we're going to start with some pelvic tilts. Just reminding you that your pelvic tilt wants to come from within, not from squeezing and letting go of your big bottom muscles. Okay? Make sure that with your neck, that you've got a nice long neck. Not too long, but you're not kind of got your chin pointing towards the ceiling. So gently tuck your chin down towards your chest. Your ribs should just be nice and soft and melting into the floor. And then from here, start to gently tilt your pelvis northwards, flattening the small of your back in towards the floor, and then tilt it south, creating a gentle arch. And again, tilting north, using the muscles deep inside, flattening the back towards the floor, and tilting south, creating a little arch. And again, north, and south, and north, and south. Land yourself in the middle, and we're going to start off with one leg stretch, level 2. So this is where, just for those of you who don't know it, you're going to slide one leg into tabletop, And then from the hip, you're extending, and it's 45 degrees, okay? A lot of people, they're tempted to go way down there, and that's not the purpose, okay? So 45 degrees, back to tabletop, and then importantly from the hip, coming down, okay? It can help to place your hands, if you can get them comfortably in the small of your back. You're wanting to very, very gently flatten your back into your hands. And then whatever that pressure is, don't allow it to change, okay? So breathe in, breathe out, float a leg into tabletop. Try and keep that pressure even on your hands. Breathing out, extend away. Breathing in, going back to tabletop. Breathing out from the hip, lower down. Swapping sides, we're breathing in, breathing out, coming to tabletop. Breathing in to hold, breathing out to extend away. Breathing in, slide back into tabletop, and out to come back. And again, swapping sides, so don't keep the pressure on your hands the same. Breathing out to extend away. Breathing in to slide it back, and out to lower down. And again, swapping sides, coming up, and extending away. Coming back, and lowering down. Swapping again. Just focus on that pressure on your hands. Keeping it nice and still, and that will mean that you're moving correctly from your hip joints and that you're managing to stabilise. The last one, and then place it there. Okay, from here we're going to go into scissors. I'm going to go straight into level 2. So level 2, just again for those of you who don't know, it's double tabletop, and we're going to dip one, back to tabletop, dip the other, back down, up to tabletop. You don't have to reach the floor, what you do have to do is maintain control. However, if you cannot get into double tabletop without your tummy doming or becoming very hard and round, then that position is too much for you. And if that is the case, then just doing single leg lifts like that off the floor is the level that is right for you, okay? So just briefly, gently flatten your back towards the mat, floor, pop your hands on your tummies. Your tummies will work a little bit, but if you feel like they suddenly blow up, then come back to that first level I said, okay? So we're going to take one leg into tabletop, breathe into hold, the other leg's going to join it. Okay, if you've managed to do that and maintain your abdominals, now once again, slide your hands gently into the small of your back. Maintain that little pressure on your hands. And from your hips, not your knees, take one leg towards or to the floor, and then return. And then the other side. Dipping down, and returning. So you're looking to maintain the control in your lower back. If your lower back is wanting to arch, then either go back to just having your legs on the floor and lifting one at a time, or only do a small part of a little dip and return. Okay, so you've got two options there. You can just start very small, and it doesn't matter that you don't get to the floor. Now, if you are quite happy with what you're doing at that level, and you think, yes, my body's good with this, then we can go into level 3, and that is a scissor action. So this exercise is called scissors, where you're literally, you imagine the blades of the scissors crossing over. Now, really importantly, you're still maintaining that control in your lower back. Your tummies are not overworking. And it's coming from your hip joints, not from your knees. Okay, we'll just do a couple more of those. And then rest one leg down, rest the other leg down. Give your knees a quick hug up to your chest before we do the next one. Just ease out those lower backs. Okay, another control one. We're going to do hip twist at level 3. This time, can you place your hands on the front of your pelvis so the palms of your hands are over those bony points. There's 2 prominent bony points. That should mean that your fingers pretty much meet in the middle. Okay? We're going to take one leg up into tabletop. This is hip twist at level 3. So you're going to monitor the opposite side of your pelvis, and you're going to only take your tabletop out to the side as far as you can control that pelvis staying still. If you feel your pelvis starting to roll, then you're going to the edge of your control and draw the tabletop back to the ceiling and rest your leg down. Swapping sides, coming up into tabletop. So monitor the opposite side of your pelvis, open that tabletop out to the side as far as you can maintain that pelvic control. And by that I mean not allowing the pelvis to rotate, and then draw it back to the ceiling and down. Alternating sides, remember to monitor the opposite side of the pelvis, opening the tabletop out to the side. Bring it back up and down. Good, and again, coming up, opening out to the side. Bringing the tabletop back to the ceiling and down. Okay, so these are one of the more thoughtful exercises that we do. Really focusing on that rotational control. It's one of the integral things I always look at is the stability around this region whenever I'm assessing a painful back. Because if this region isn't stable, in both these exercises we've just done, then it's a very big reason why back pain might start to happen. Okay, last one, and then lower that leg down. From here we are going to go into shoulder bridge. So can you take your cushion away from underneath your head? Make sure your neck is still long, so that means your chin is gently sliding towards your chest. Draw your shoulder blades down towards your bottom and have your arms on the floor. We're going to try not to use the arms, and in a little bit we're going to take them away. Okay? Just bring your heels a little bit closer to your bottom. Okay, if you've got particularly lengthy legs, then we don't want them touching the bottom, that's too close. But a little bit closer than they were before. So starting with your pelvic tilt, taking it up into a shoulder bridge, flatten the back towards the floor. Use the deep muscles inside, start to peel up. So remember what I said a couple of weeks ago about not using the bottom muscles to begin with. We're going to slowly curl, 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 and we're up in our shoulder bridge. Shoulder bridge is always on the shoulders, hence the name, never the neck. And then leading with your breastbone, let the back of your breastbone, so between your shoulder blades, find the mat and curl down one spinal segment. Really work into that lumbar region, trying to place your lumbar spine down one segment at a time, and then let go of your tailbone. Okay? And again, we're rolling up into shoulder bridge, flattening the back into the floor. Try to see how far you can get up without your bottom muscles kicking in too much. They'll work a tiny bit, but we're not wanting to clench them. We're rolling up into shoulder bridge, staying there, and then rolling slowly back down. Good. Now take your arms to the ceiling. Lengthen your fingertips to the ceiling, so we're trying to take our shoulder blades gently away from the floor. Make sure your neck is still long, and curl up again. And you're up into shoulder bridge. Keeping it there, breathing in, breathing out. Breastbone first, so lead down nice and slowly through the spine. Don't forget, focus on that lumbar spine, lengthening to the floor as you curl down. Now, have a little play with this. Go onto your toes. Okay, it's a nice strengthener for the hamstrings. Curl up. You'll get a little bit higher. Still don't go onto your necks. But do make sure that you're still getting your pelvis higher than your ribs. And curl down. So that should have kicked your hamstrings, the muscles in the back of your thighs, in a little bit stronger. But some people prefer heels. So now convert just to your heels, take your toes off the floor. And curl up, nice and slowly. Also kicks in back of the legs. I find personally I get it more with the toes, but some people get more with the heels. So we'll just do a couple more of those going between the two. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my toes. You can do whichever one feels more effective, or you can alternate. Lengthen your fingertips to the ceiling. Make sure your neck's long and curl up. Flatten the back. Slowly pinning your spine away from the floor. Holding up there and curling gently down. Okay, one more on the heels, also with the toes if you're finding it beneficial. And curling up. Now the heels, you're taking away a little bit of your scope for movement. Your toes, you're adding scope for movement in your lumbar spine. And curl down. Now both feet on the floor, nice and flat, still hip distance apart. I'd like we're going to come up the left side and roll down the right side. So we're adding a rotational element to our shoulder bridge, which is a really lovely thing to do. Okay? So, from your start position, roll onto your left buttock. So your right one's just leaving the floor, and then you're going to peel up that left side. You're going to come on to that left shoulder blade, roll through onto your right shoulder blade, and then curl down to your right rib cage, right lower back, right tailbone, centre. Reversing it, roll onto your right side, and slowly curl up that right side. Right shoulder blade through the middle onto your left shoulder blade, and gently roll that left rib cage down, lower back, left buttock and centre. Just two more times. So through onto your left, curling up through that left side. Onto the left shoulder blade, through the middle, onto the right shoulder blade, curl down. And to the middle. And then last time, rolling onto the right side, curl up through the right buttock, right lower back, right ribs, onto the right shoulder blade, through the centre, onto the left, curl slowly down. Finish central, we're going to do one last shoulder bridge central, okay? So from here, curling up. Take yourself up into that shoulder bridge, nice and segmentally. Now go onto your toes. See if you can take yourself that little tiny bit higher. And what I really want you to work for is that lumbar movement coming down. So curl down, breastbone, rib cage. Slowly, slowly through the lumbar. Find the floor, one piece at a time. That's really lovely. I can see some of you so clearly. And then we'll let it go. And then let your feet go. Well done. Okie doke. Right, from here, We're going to come up to sitting. If you need to sit on your blocks because you can't sit up otherwise tall, or your cushions, then now's the time to sit on your cushion. Okay, I'll do a couple of these facing forwards and I'll do a couple of them facing sideways so you can see what we're doing. But essentially, I'll do a quick run through in both directions. We're going to do an open spine twist one way, and then we're going to hold the knees, and other way, hold the knees like that, and we're going to look our breastbones to the ceiling. So from here, what you'll see is an open spine twist one way, the other way, hook underneath your knees, grow tall, and then look your breastbone up to the ceiling, and that's a thoracic extension that we're looking for, okay? Very hard to cheat into your lumbar spine, but very easy to just look your neck to the ceiling. So keep that long neck as we look the thoracic spine up. Okay? I'll keep facing this way, I think, because I think you'll see better. Knees and feet hip distance apart again, so remember that fist between your feet. Take your arms up, but your shoulders are relaxed. So your shoulder blades are gently relaxed down the back of your spine. Start with that little pelvic tilt. So you're opening up that lumbar region and then open into a nice big spine twist. Good. Coming up, sit tall. Back onto the points of your sit bones. Roll back off the sit bones into your pelvic tilt and open spine twist the other way. Let your eyes follow your hand. Coming up nice and tall, sit up onto your sit bones. Hook your hands from the outside of your thighs to the inside of your knees. That's it. And whilst looking forwards, open your breastbone to the ceiling. Got a long neck, got some ability in the thoracic. And let it go. Arms up. And again, pelvic tilt. Spine twist. Sitting up nice and tall. Other way, pelvic tilt. Open spine twist. Sitting up tall. Put the hands up underneath the thighs, into the knees, look forwards, look the breastbone to the ceiling. Try and find some movement in that thoracic. And let go. And again, arms in front. Pelvic tilt, open spine twist. Let your eyes follow your hand. Coming up nice and tall. Okay, so try and separate that lumbar movement before you add in the thoracic movement. Closing that spine twist, sitting tall. Hook the arms. Looking up. Letting go. And again, curl. Open. Coming up. And again, curl. Open. Coming up. Nice and tall. Hook the arms. Look forwards. But open up that thoracic. Good. Now from here, we're going to go down onto the mat. So have your small cushions, but we are going to interlock the hands and place them at the base of the head. Okay? So your hands are basically lengthening your neck, and your fingers are lengthening your neck. So we're down like that. We're going to do a little bit of obliques work, so that's the muscles that sit underneath the rib cage. You have a choice. You can keep your feet on the floor. If you want a little bit more work, you can take yourself up into double tabletop and then gently flatten your back towards the floor. So that's your choice, feet on the floor or double tabletop. Either way, you're thinking now about opposite shoulder to opposite hip. So take a breath in, as you breathe out, rotate and lift, and breathe into lower. Breathing out, rotate and lift, breathing into lower. So shoulder to hip, not elbow to knee. Now your other option, you can either go all the way down to the floor each time, or you can stay hovered. So we're going to rotate, de-rotate but stay up. Rotate the other way, de-rotate but stay up. Okay, so there are your two options. So we've got ways of making it easier and harder. Try and maintain that double tabletop if you are there. If you're not, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to work these strong and then we're going to finish by stretching them out. So one more to each side, rotate and lift, and down, other side, rotate and lift, and down. Well done. Lower the feet down one at a time. You did take them up. The place you should have felt that is sitting just underneath the rib cage. That's where your obliques are. Okay, we're going to turn to our sides. This is where you'll want, in class, I make you have 2 head blocks. So you want a big cushion or fold your cushion in half. Okay. And then you're going to rest down, your knees bent, your arms in front of each other. This exercise is all about thoracic mobility. So allow those mid-spines to move. We're not holding anything rigid, but the pelvis wants to stay fairly forwards. Okay, but not so it's stuck there. So when you're ready, breathing in, breathing out. Slide that top hand forwards along the floor. Find a nice stretch. And then breathing in from the breastbone. Rotate the breastbone towards the ceiling, and that rotation will take your arm with it. Let your eyes follow your top hand. And then we're breathing out as we rotate back and slide forwards. And we're breathing in as we rotate and open. And breathing out. As we rotate, slide forwards. Breathing in. Open. Breathing out. Just slide forwards. And one more time. Now I'm going to turn 180 on the mat, but do by all means feel free just to do a roly-poly and roll onto the other side. Okay, so I'll turn over so I can see you all, but you can just turn over. So once again, lying, bent knees, arms in front of you. So maintain that connection of your shoulder blades to your rib cages throughout. We're going to slide forwards as we breathe out. And then breathing in as we rotate and open. If you can't lie on this side, then just sit and do some more open spine twists in sitting. That's it, good. So really search, just to remind you once again, you're searching for that thoracic movement. That's movement between your shoulder blades as we glide forwards, a nice stretch. And then breathing in as we open, but maintaining the connection. So the arm stays connected to the trunk via the shoulder blades. Okay, it's not just flapping around. And it's never the arm that leads the movement, it's the trunk that leads the movement. One more. Sliding forwards. And opening up. Good. And then bring yourself up to sitting. Okay, just sit however you are comfortable, just for this last little moment. From here, can you place your hands onto the outside of your rib cage, but only if you can do that with your shoulders maintaining relaxed. Again, if you can't sit up tall from this position, then sit on a cushion. Lengthen the neck so that you're lengthening out of the soft palate in your mouth. And then just gently breathe into your hands. So breathing into the outside of your rib cage. And letting it out. And again. So feel like you're filling the bases of your lungs. The chests should remain quietish, or at very least they should be the last things to fill. Okay? In a moment we're going to fill all the way up. So just concentrate on filling the very bases of the lungs. Keeping those shoulders relaxed. Okay, now this time take it all the way, bases, middle of the lungs, up into what we call the apices, so the top of the lungs. Okay, so we're going to breathe in. Keep breathing in. Filling everything. And let it all out quickly. Okay, and again, breathing in, bases, middle of the lungs, top of the lungs, so into the top of the chest, almost into the shoulders, the lungs go all the way up there, and let it out. Okay, 2 more times, filling in, bases, middle, into the top, let it out, and last time, breathing in, fill the lungs. Let it out, and then don't collapse, but be free on a nice strong spine. Okay, so don't just go, Pilates is finished. Stay tall, but stay, that's right Andrew, stay relaxed.